You wake up this morning and your phone shows you something impossible. Tomorrow's stock prices, every single one. Exact numbers, real companies. The screen updates like a normal financial app, except it's dated tomorrow. Apple, Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft. Every major stock on every major exchange. What they open at, what they close at, where they peak, where they dip. The whole day, laid out in front of you like a map of a city you've never visited, but somehow already know. You have 24 hours. Now. Here is the question the fantasy version of this never asks. What do you actually do? Most people hearing this scenario skip straight to the part where they are rich. They imagine buying the right stocks before the market opens, watching the numbers climb, and walking away with a number that changes their life before dinner. That is the visible version of this story. There is an invisible version, and the invisible version is the one that actually happens to the people who try it in real life, without the magic app, with real inside information instead. The ones who knew something, the market did not. The ones who acted on it. Their stories do not end the way the fantasy does. Let's run both. The fantasy first. The market opens at 9:30 a.m. You already know that a mid-size pharmaceutical company will announce FDA approval of a major drug at 2:15 p.m. The stock is currently trading at $47. By close of trading, it will sit at $121. You buy as many shares as your savings account allows. Let's say $10,000 worth. Roughly 212 shares at $47. At 2:16 p.m., the announcement hits. The stock moves. By 3:45 p.m., you sell at $118. Close enough to the peak that you don't get greedy. Your $10,000 has become $25,016 in a single afternoon. You made $15,000 in 6 hours without a single hour of research, without a market analysis, without a degree in finance. You go home, you eat dinner. You feel for the first time in your adult life like the system finally worked in your favor. You still have 18 hours left on the clock. The app is still showing tomorrow's prices. So you go bigger. You put $50,000, everything in savings, into a tech stock that will jump 34% when it reports earnings after the bell tomorrow. You buy options this time because you understand now that options multiply the return. You're not guessing anymore. You're not speculating. You know. The position is enormous compared to your normal trading history. You have never bought options before. You have never touched this stock before. You have never made a trade this size before. And right there, in those 3 sentences, is where the fantasy ends and the real story begins. Because somewhere in a government building, a system just noticed you. Not a person. A system. The SEC's surveillance infrastructure processes approximately 1 billion trading records per day, time-stamped to the microsecond, cross-referenced against every earnings report, every acquisition, every drug approval, every announcement that moves a market. The system has a name. Artemis. It integrates equity and options data and ranks suspicious trades using advanced metrics. It does not need to read your messages. It does not need a witness. It does not need a tip. It just needs your trade to be statistically improbable. And yours is. First-time buyer of this stock. Options, not shares, which multiply returns and signal conviction in a specific outcome. Position size wildly inconsistent with your trading history. Timed perfectly before a major announcement. The system flags it before the market even closes. An analyst pulls your account. They see yesterday's pharmaceutical trade as well. 2 perfectly timed, perfectly profitable trades in 2 different companies in 2 consecutive days by an account with no prior history in either stock. The math. As one S&EC enforcement unit has publicly described it, looks improbably successful. They open an investigation. You do not know any of this yet. You are still watching the confirmation screen. The trade executed. The position is open. You close the app and go to sleep thinking tomorrow will be the best day of your financial life. What happens next is not dramatic. That is the part nobody tells you. It is quiet. It is slow. It is paperwork and waiting and a letter that arrives 6 weeks later. The SEC does not knock on your door at dawn with a film crew. They send a request. They want your trading records, your communications, your browser history. And yes, they can access that. In one documented real-world case, investigators discovered that a trader had literally searched "How SEC detect unusual trade" days before executing the very trade that got him caught. The search history became part of the evidence. You don't have inside information in the legal sense. You have a magic app that doesn't exist. But the trade pattern looks identical to someone who does. And the legal system does not distinguish between sources. It distinguishes between what you knew and what the public knew. What you knew, tomorrow's price. What the public knew, today's. That gap, one day, one price, one trade, is the definition of an unfair advantage in a marketplace built on the premise that no one has one. The penalties for insider trading are not symbolic. Criminal conviction carries up to 20 years in federal prison. Individual fines reach up to $5 million. Civil penalties can demand up to 3 times whatever profit you made. The hedge fund manager Raj Rajaratnam ran an insider trading network for years, made over $70 million, and received an 11-year prison sentence plus a civil penalty of nearly $93 million. Martha Stewart sold stock based on a single tip about a single drug approval, not unlike our pharmaceutical trade, and spent 5 months in federal prison. Not for the trade itself, for lying to investigators afterward. The money does not protect you. It becomes the evidence. Here is what the thought experiment is actually revealing. The fantasy assumes that knowing the future gives you an advantage. And it does, for one afternoon, maybe 2. But the market is not a slot machine you can beat by cheating the mechanism. It is a system built specifically to detect and punish exactly the behavior you just described. Every perfectly timed trade leaves a footprint. Every outsized return before an announcement gets noticed. Every account that is suddenly, improbably, consistently right gets reviewed. The real question the fantasy is asking is not, what would you do with perfect information? It is, what do you believe a fair system looks like? Because the moment you use information no one else has, you are not winning a game. You are ending it. For the person on the other side of your trade who bought when you sold, who sold when you bought, who made the opposite decision with the same incomplete picture the market gave everyone else. The advantage was never just yours. The loss was always theirs. You wake up this morning and your phone shows you something impossible. You look at it for a long moment. Then you put it down. Because the second price tag on that trade, the one that never appears on the confirmation screen, is not just measured in fines or years. It is measured in what kind of participant you choose to be in a system that only works when the information is the same for everyone. The clock is still running. What do you do?